Alright guys, this is what we're going to be working on today. I'm thinking this section right here is going to stay. I got to trim this here and here. I'm not sure what we're going to do with this because that's going to be hard to replicate, but I'm going to have to work some magic on it. I want to leave that because that's the seat mount. For right now, I just want to cut this, cut some of the rocker material off, and see what's going on under here before we go welding anything in. So where I'm at is I've got this pan pretty much trimmed to length. The main thing is that I have to get this piece off so that I can, I have to drill the spot weld so that I can get this piece, because that's the bottom layer. The inner rocker goes on top of that, and then the outer rocker. So I got to cut these spot welds and get them off before I can get this in. I was thinking about using this existing lip and just welding here, but I have to get these out first if I'm even going to do that. I don't know yet if I'm going to use this as the lip or use the metal that's already here, so I got to figure that out. Alright, so since we're paused on this side over here, I've got to get a good spot weld driller, but I'm going to start cutting over here while we're waiting on this side, waiting on that spot weld drill. And maybe we'll even get a pan in there, or half a pan in there today.
Well, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true.
Alright, so I don't know if I want to leave this brace. It's pretty pitted, and I'm not sure if it's structurally sound. I know at this end I'd have to chop it and put another angle on there because it welds to the inner rocker, but it's rotted there. I don't know, I'm going to have to talk to some of my buddies who have done some more of this and see what they would do. If they would leave it, I mean, obviously if I was going all out on something, I wouldn't leave it. Everything would get replaced that had any rust, but this is somewhat of a budget job for the guy, and I need to make sure I'm focusing on doing the things that are truly most necessary, so I'm not, eating up my time, so I can get the most out of it with the amount he's paying me. Alright guys, so it's a few days later, and we're getting back on this to draw out some spot welds and hopefully get the other half of this pan in. And then I believe we will be, once we get this pan in, I think we'll go over to that side and do some shit. And then probably come up here, do some shit here. It's a lot of work, especially these cab mounts all right here. And in the corners, all really need to be done. It's a really tight area, and there's a lot of different layers of metal, so I have to make sure I get that layering right and don't, misalign it. Put one less layer, weld the second layer to what's supposed to be a first layer or something like that. But Yeah, I'm just going to be cutting spot welds for a while. Alright guys, so I got this kind of fancy little spot weld drill bit. Um, it's got a little, I don't know, yeah, you can see it. It's got that little tip that starts drilling first, so you're not walking all around. I don't like the spring ones, at least not the cheap spring tipped ones with the metal edge. Kind of like a miniature hole saw, but they've got a springy, uh, like scribe tip in the center, and I don't like them. Uh, I'm hoping this will be better. I've never used this kind before, but yeah. And most of these spot welds are pretty recessed, pretty deep. So I'm hoping I won't have much of an issue, but let's see what we can do. That is lovely. Wear your safety glasses. I don't know how many layers I've gotten through because there's 1, 2, 3 layers. You've got your inner rocker down here that comes up, goes on top of your pan, and then you've got your outer rocker that comes out and then down, and that's a third layer. So it's kind of complicated, kind of confusing with some of the things that I've got to be fixing. See, I think I probably only went through 1 layer on each of these. There sure are a lot of spot welds. Let's see if I'm through the first or the second or any layers. Oh yeah. Look at that. Coming right up. I didn't get the second layer on any of these, which is okay. But I should start drilling them deeper. Oh, there she let loose. I felt that one. Ow. Just smacked my hand. Oh, yeah, she let loose. We got one here, one here. Oh, that might be one. One here, one here, one here. I hope I'm not getting this bit too hot. I really don't know how to use a drill bit, if I'm being honest, how to take care of them. I just kind of run them till they die. Sometimes I use some cutting fluid. I could be for this. I don't know if I should be. I guess I kind of just don't want the mess of that. At least not on this. There she goes. There's one right on the edge there. That's kind of annoying. That's why that's annoying. I think we'll be able to cut it with the screwdriver. Wow, that is bad in there. There she goes. I feel like I'm opening up a can of worms right now. I left my work stool at one of my old jobs when I moved jobs. I forgot it there. So I'm going to sit on this tackle box, but I don't really want to go back and get it, so I should probably buy a new one. And I say that to myself just about every time I'm working in here because I want them. I need one. It's very convenient. But I really don't like spending money. See, now I feel like this thing's cutting down, slowing down. And it almost definitely is, but I feel like it shouldn't be getting dull already. See, I have no idea. This is what I mean. When these things get weak, dude, I just chuck them. Fucking forget about them in the bottom of my toolbox and buy a new set. I was never taught shit about drill bits. I should probably make the effort to learn. Someday I will. Don't want to fuck up my pan too much by prying on it. Good angle. Get comfortable. Get a good position. Goes for so many things. You know what I need is a fucking mag drill. But I'm not going to go out and buy one of those on a whim like I did the Impact the other day. Alright, so I had a thought that maybe I should just do these three and cut it out because I don't know. I don't see any point in going through all of the... I'm just going to... It'll be way quicker, and I'm not going to use this lip because there's a nice lip on the pan I got under here, and it's just a lot less hassle. Alright, so we'll hit these three, and then we're just gonna chop out here, and then we can cut out here right there because that's all rotted under there. This piece will come off, and this piece will just be from here to here, it'll just be cut. We're gonna go for the chop. Isn't that nice? This is exactly why we have the bracing here, because once all this comes out of here, there's nothing holding this and this together, and it'll unlevel, it'll move like this, it'll move like this, so you gotta hold it in place. Alright, so I think we're gonna give this a trim right here. That's just shot. Lots of spot welds to drill out in there, I bet. That is a difficult situation. Let me show you guys what we're working with. Alright, so we cut out here to here. You can see the multiple layers now. So this is the lip of this floor pan, and the inner comes up with a 90. You can see right here. This is the inner rocker. Comes up 90, sits on there, and then the outer sits on top of that and comes out and around. And then there would be that pinch weld at the bottom, but it's rotted away. so we have rockers, inner and outer, that we're gonna put on here. Got to get up here with some repair metal. That's not going to be material coming from the pans, I don't think, unless, no, it won't be. I'll have to add more. So we'll have to cut a little square out there, put a little patch in. Yeah, maybe I ought to just get this shit all out of my way. Start from scratch. I think that's what we're going to have to do. All right. Diving right in. Do have to make sure I'm not cutting any of the fancy under bracing because I want to be able to look at it to replicate it. I'm gonna have to rebuild everything here. Fuck. Now you can really see those layers that I'm talking about. You got your first layer, floor pan. Then you jump up to your second layer, inner rocker. And then your third layer, outer rocker. So I gotta cut this shit out somehow. But there's a bracket under here that I want to save. Right here. And then when I cut this, I have to make sure not to fuck up this piece because that goes all the way out here. Alright, so I think this is totally severed. And I saved some of that bracket. Alright guys. So we're pretty much into new pan territory. But first thing, I skipped ahead a little bit and I got all that material that was on top of here off. Just cut it out little by little with the angle grinder so that I didn't cut into the support, the brace here, because I need that. But I gotta figure out, there's rocker material here. You can see this is where the pillar comes down, and then the rocker was the next layer beneath that. So I gotta get that out from inside there. It's sticking out a bit on both sides, there and there. So we gotta get that out from inside there. Oh, we gotta get this out of here as well. Once we get all of that, we can start putting the pan in, putting more rocker in, because I was gonna just do the pan and then switch over to that side pan, but I wanna get the rocker in here so this isn't just, it is braced, but I don't want it just hanging because, you know, you never know, something could go wrong. I got so lucky with this floor brace being good because I didn't get a replacement for it with the repair panels, but that one's kind of questionable and it's shot at the end. This one's good all the way along. Alright guys, so I got this cleaned up a bit. It still needs more, but I just did it with these little wire wheels. Also not sure if the pan is supposed to butt up against that or if it's supposed to go above it or below it. I don't think it goes below it, but it definitely goes butted up against it or above it. I gotta get that rocker material out on the sides, and then I can start getting new rocker in. Alright guys, so I kind of got on a roll with cutting. This is trimmed. This is ready to be welded to. Well, ready to be fit up. It still needs to be prepped, cleaned, everything like that. This needs to be prepped and cleaned. I have to trim out some in there, inside the fender here, which is going to be difficult, but we'll get it done. I'm going to cut this pan out up here, and just so we can get a better view of what's going on. That's one of the biggest things I've learned doing this is you waste time worrying about how you're gonna make it work, and you don't just start cutting shit out. But that's what you gotta do. You gotta cut shit out. You gotta see what's underneath so that you can actually make a plan. Until you do that, you're gonna be running in circles in your head, not knowing what the fuck to do first. That's what I did for a while, till eventually I was just like, screw this. I gotta start just cutting shit out and seeing what's underneath. I was so afraid of the fine details, doing a really nice job here, that I was trying to make it impossibly perfect, and worrying about cutting in and messing something up or the whole car falling apart. But you just gotta make sure it's braced, and then you can really go to town, you know. You don't want to just start cutting everything out. You gotta pick and choose. Like, I'm not gonna touch that yet because I want that little bit of support there, since there's hardly any support here, you know. And then this one is still supporting the floor, but it's not supporting this piece that's not connected to it. Well, it is by a hair, but I cut that, so but it's simpler than I had thought, but at the same time, it's not simple at all. You gotta really kind of know what you're doing. And I mean, to a certain extent I do, but I've never done anything this large before, this complex. I'm gonna start, you know, cutting out this pan. Right now I'm gonna go get me some lunch, but we're gonna start cutting out this pan and getting some more visibility. We're gonna start, you know, everything that looks like this has to get cleaned up. We'll wire wheel it. We'll hit it with the abrasive pads there. They're a light abrasive. It's not like a hard rock disc on a angle grinder. It's kind of sponge looking thing. I don't know what they call them. Get everything nice and clean. Wipe it down with acetone or clean it with brake clean. I like to let stuff sit for a while before I weld on it after I've cleaned it with brake clean, because people say it can be bad for you. Let it sit for like a day. Just leave it alone for a day or so. And that's usually just natural time that I let it sit because I'm doing other stuff. Like after this weekend, this thing will probably be sitting all week while I work on pulling the motor out of the Daytona. Get everything clean. We'll shoot it with a layer of paint. That's just because when lap welding, I like to have that in there. We're gonna seam seal everything at the end, but it is nice to have the weld through primer, in my opinion. It's just convenient and it looks nice. Get this cut out, and maybe some on this side will cut out. Definitely we will. And we're going to either slap this pan in. Yeah, we gotta slap this pan in on this side, this piece from here to here, and then we'll hit it with the inner rocker, the outer rocker, and we'll be in pretty good shape.